Hello everyone, this is the VR month in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unique event of its genre in this country. It is the first that is going to be held in the city of Goma in the eastern part of Congo. Amazing place. There will be different type of event. There will be live events where we will have to gather together to have this immersive experience. There will also be an online event where we are gathering different profile, the top of the notch of Africa. They will come from Egypt to Kenya, from Nigeria. They will be talking to you about a wide range of topics, unique topics, from how to build a studio to how to build content and how to immerse people in this kind of VR, what is happening in the metaverse and how to develop it. I'm inviting all of you to join this event. We will share with you this link where you can go and register so that you can be part of this event. We welcome all of you and we can't wait to see you.
Hey everybody, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, my a little bit of background on me, and I will be using a slide deck to show a little bit of what we're going to talk about. But my background is in motion picture and television. After my career in the movie business, I started a commercial photography and video business. And during my time, I was involved with immersive video from, back when Google Cardboard and the Oculus Dev Kit were a thing to, seeing where this has gone. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about business and production, and how it all sort of intersects. So I'm going to start my deck, and we'll go with that. And again, I thank you very much. Oops. It would help if I press the present button. So we're going to present a window, and we're going to do this. And now we're going to go here and put it in full screen. Okay. And the great thing is that now I can't see you, so I am much more relaxed. But again, thank you very much.
Bob, can we redo it since people didn't hear us? So I'm going to introduce you all over again.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Was it anything on my end?
No, actually it was from our end.
Okay, no problem.
So welcome everyone. Today is the third session of the VR month. So we're going to hear it out from Bob Beresh about the business of production and immersive technology. And it actually, immersive technology actually blurs the line in between the physical and digital world. So it's going to be a straight line here. So let's hear it out from Bob Beresh. It's actually how it looks like talking to him and learning from him is actually having multiple cups of coffee. Piece of cake. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thanks, Meti. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Guzo Tech and Daniel and the whole team, Bini and everybody over in DRC right now. I appreciate the opportunity to join you. And hello to everyone in attendance at l'Institut Français at Goma, as well as all over, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for your attention and your attendance. It's really cool that we can do this. So my presentation is a deck, and we can start there. Yeah, we'll go with that. So I'm going to go to present and select the window that I have this deck in, and then I'm going to put it into full screen mode. And the great thing is that I can't see you. So now I'm much less nervous. So a bit of background on me. Who is this guy? My career was spent in the entertainment industry. From the time I was a little kid, I wanted to work in the movie business. And I started making videos instead of writing papers in school. And there was this show on the Discovery Channel way back when, in the early days of cable TV in the United States, called Movie Magic. And this was a show about all the behind the scenes of making movies. And what really got me hooked on this idea that you could make movies and that this was a thing that you could do to make a living was that a group of people brought this equipment somewhere and made something completely make-believe. And it told a story. It made robots real. It made dinosaurs real. It made historic events real. To make an audience believe something that is completely made up, being 100% real, I thought was just amazing. Also, the technology behind it. I'm a camera guy. I'm a photographer. I've always been a photographer, and all the bits and pieces that go together to make movies and make TV, I thought was amazing. So after university, I moved to Los Angeles and started my career in the movie business. I started at Paramount. My first job was a production assistant on Mission Impossible 2 in the production accounting office. And after that, I worked at Sony Imageworks, which was their visual effects house. This was in the era of Stuart Little 2. It was a combined live action and animated movie about a little mouse. And after that, I went on to work at Warner Brothers in post-production sound, doing business development for feature films. So along that whole path, I was always very interested in the technology, and that was true for visual effects. It was true for camera technology, and it's something that I was always interested in. So when immersive video came onto the scene, I had a few good friends that were really getting into it. And I was like, okay, what can we do with Google Cardboard? What can we do with sort of the least amount of stuff to really make a cool immersive video? So I started playing around with immersive video and the Oculus Dev Kit and that sort of thing, and it was really interesting, and something that I'll always sort of have a toe in. But today, I think that immersive is a little bit different. Sorry, here in my deck is just a little scrapbook of some stuff. But what immersive is doing now is something really interesting. And I think that, going back to Doug Maui's Immersive 101 presentation, we can say that immersive can apply to anything. And any experience where time loses meaning and your full concentration is involved and in this enjoyable experience. I mean, that's immersive. So it isn't just about the technology, and it isn't just about the VR headsets or the metaverse. It's things that are completely outside this realm and are part of our current reality. So, I mean, if you think about immersive, we can go back to theme parks. We can go back to safari. We can go back to roller coasters. Um, in the US and elsewhere, there are haunted houses and escape rooms. We can look at that as an immersive entertainment experience. And I sort of like expanded this to say, okay, you give yourself over to this 360-degree experience where you have some control over your perspective, but the overall experience and whatever you're in is designed by someone else. So the level of engagement really is determined by the audience. So if you're putting on a an art exhibition and there's a cool immersive element to it, if somebody is really involved in the experience, great. If somebody comes away from it and says, I it left me wanting more. I didn't really understand what I was supposed to do. There are all these parts to creating and designing immersive experiences that, you know, when we're designing it, we know all the little parts, but really you don't know if your thing is effective until you test it with an audience. So if you can get an audience to suspend their disbelief and their skepticism and really dip into the experience, your immersive experience will be perceived as successful. So there are museums, there are roller coasters, there's VR, and full disclosure. Oh, sorry. In this deck was also this other thing called secret cinema, where in London and in the UK and in Europe and all around the world, they're putting up these installations where secret cinema has actors, DJs, lighting technicians, set builders create these enormous adaptations of movies for people to experience live. So again, this is yet another immersive experience, and I guess you could call it a technology, but this is the sort of thing where you are physically going to a place and being involved with something. So it's a very different kind of immersive entertainment than what we've been talking about this week in terms of VR and AR, that sort of thing. So this is full disclosure. This is an image from Black Rhino VR. They've really been doing a lot of great work, and they've got really good visuals. So I stole one. So like we were saying about all these physical experiences, immersive is not new, but we are constantly developing new tools to develop immersive experiences. So does anybody else get simulator sickness? Simulator sickness is a thing where if you're in a VR headset and you come out of it, you're dizzy for a few hours, just slightly. It's irritating more than debilitating, but I really like coffee and I'm sensitive to caffeine. So simulator sickness for me is like being really involved with VR and really loving VR, but having that simulator sickness. So anyway, I deal with it. So when we're talking about platforms, there are the external platforms like the museums and the projection mapped experiences. There's the Unreal Engine virtual production using LED walls that's used in movies and TV. And then there's experiential entertainment like the secret cinema. So these are examples of an immersive technology, an immersive platform where The physical person goes to the event. Then there are the internal immersive experiences where it's internal to our brains. Everything is going on inside our consciousness. This includes VR gaming, avatar-based metaverse exploration, AR information systems where you're using some sort of hybrid headset like a HoloLens, and it's being used in a more commercial or academic type environment. And then there's AR gaming. And I'll talk later about Pokemon Go, but I mean, I think that there are so many opportunities to be learned from Pokemon Go and the behavioral aspect of AR. And then there's VR directed experience. So let's talk about the business, because that's why we're here. My business expertise comes from a career in the motion picture business. It does not come from any, immersive entertainment or immersive technology corporate experience. Just my own personal experience in business and in developing immersive video platforms. So again, this is where we diverge from talking about AR and VR and immersive specifically and start talking about the philosophy of business, because it applies to whatever you are pursuing. So the difference between business and experimentation, I think, is very important, because we're at a point in AR and VR and XR platforms where there's a lot of experimentation and there's a lot of seeing where things land. It's like, see what sticks. So it's the way we think about business. The goal is to take something that currently exists and sell it to as many people as possible. The point of business is to make money. And experimentation, on the other hand, can leave the door open to creativity and creating what does not yet exist without the burden of having to realize some kind of revenue stream from your experimentation. So I chose this image because it's the divide between revenue and invention where we're often stuck, because one doesn't really exist without the other. It's like you can't sell something until you have something, but you can't have something without the money to make the idea a thing. So I think it's very interesting that there are a lot of corporate structures now that have an innovation mandate. 3M for the longest time had it's 15% of its time was spent on R&D by not having any expectation of monetary return. So they said, go ahead and chase rainbows. And what came from this? I mean, companies like Google claim that they developed Google Maps, Gmail, and other really high dollar platforms off of just straight up experimentation. 3M had somebody come up with Post-it notes. I mean, talk about a ubiquitous product that everybody's used. These little squares of paper with an adhesive on it that previously they didn't really know what to do with. And then somebody else from their lab said, all right, well, let's take this lightweight adhesive and put it on some paper and see what happens. So this is not to diminish experimentation, because experimentation is the most important part of getting to the next step in business. We don't know what we've got until we just try it, until we try using the new tools, until we try using the new tools in a novel and unique way to do something completely different. So where do we build our foundation? How do we build the foundation of our business? It can start from problem solving. What problem do you solve? How unique or novel is your solution? And I guess, I'm getting a bit of an echo here, so I don't know if anybody else is. But what I'm going to do is just real quickly turn off my speakers. So I won't know if anybody's talking. And that is a bad thing, but at least we won't have any more echo. Anyway, problem solving. What problem do we solve? How unique or novel is our solution? How accessible is the idea to be adopted quickly by people who are not within your organization or your company or friends or family without complex explanation? And let me repeat that. How accessible is your idea, or how accessible is your thing that it can be used by somebody else without any sort of explanation? If we're talking about entertainment, that you are developing a platform specifically for entertainment, how do you use technology in a unique way to tell a story, or let somebody become part of the story that you're telling? What I mentioned earlier is that the success of Pokemon Go as an AR game, it built on this behavioral model in that people wanted a quest in the real world. They wanted something to go out and do. They wanted to be part of their physical environment, but engaging in this, digital thing. So one of the unique things that, we can talk about this week, and what other presenters have talked about, is this concept of cultural perspective. If you're an AR developer, or if you're a VR developer and want to bring your unique voice to AR and VR applications, that's something that only you can do, because only you know how to tell your story from your perspective. And if you are creating a platform for people that have a similar perspective, then if you look to the success of AR and VR platforms and build an experience from a human behavioral standpoint, rather than thinking that we need to reinvent the wheel, that's probably a good place. We just have to make it our own. You have to make it through your own voice, using your own perspective and your lens. Because the reality is that we make art and we make things to please ourselves. And if there's no other purpose for it other than to, make something cool, then just do something that satisfies your own creative journey, your own creative quest. Because no matter what happens, there will be an audience for what you are creating. There's a quote that I used to keep up on my monitor, and that's: trust in your art, because there will always be an audience out there for it. Just trust in what you're building, and the rest will come. So I think one of the interesting things about business is that we have to maintain a certain level of stamina when it comes to business, when it comes to creativity, when it comes to keeping us motivated and keeping us moving in the direction that got us to a place in the first place. So in my opinion, the key points to maintaining stamina in business and creativity are: first, collaboration. You may be able to sit in a darkened room with a computer and code your fingers to the bone, but without other people taking a look at it and giving you opinions on what you're doing, it's just, you know, you're just coding in the dark. Also, AR, VR, all of these immersive platforms are creative endeavors. And one of the biggest lessons that I try to get across to people that are new to filmmaking or making videos or anything like that is that this is an additive creativity. So if you're making a movie, you know, you may be directing, but you shouldn't be shooting it. You shouldn't be the camera person. You shouldn't be the sound person. You shouldn't be the composer. You shouldn't be the makeup person. Have people that have these specialties, have this expertise, join you, join you within this creative endeavor, because everybody adds something. It's an additive process. And nothing that anybody adds to the process takes away from anybody else's accomplishment. It is a collective accomplishment. So work together, work with other creative people. It helps. Also, the best work you've done is ahead of you. You know, don't look backward. Keep looking forward. You may have done great stuff in the past, and that can be a calling card for you. That can be your reel. That can be something you show to people. But the best work you are going to do is ahead of you. And that applies to everything, because we should always be learning from what we are doing creatively. So continuing on with this, Doug Maui talked about flow a little bit in his presentation. So when you're in the zone, it feels like this is the only time that this creative spark will ever happen. So recognize these flow states when they happen, but also remember to take breaks. You know, I'm going to talk a lot about, you know, maintaining your personal health and well-being, because, you know, without your health and your mental well-being and all of this, none of it exists, and you'll burn out. So take care of yourself. You know, this is a marathon. So exercise, meditate, spend time with your family, take a walk outside. These are very important things to being in business, because if you want to continue, you'll need to take care of yourself. Also time, you know, give yourself the time to step away from what you're doing. Give yourself the time to give your mind a chance to disengage from what you were working on so diligently. Because if there was a problem that you were working on, if you've reached a point where it's just you've reached a roadblock, it's a challenge. There's something ahead of you that, you know, that you just can't solve. Take a step back, go to sleep, go eat something. My wife always kids me that I don't eat when I'm working, and it's true. I mean, like, but like, just take a step back, and your mind will process that problem while you're not actively engaged in it. So also, let's talk about time in general. Be aware of what might be wasting your time, because time is something we never get back. So we're talking about your productive time. Are you most productive in the morning? Are you most productive in the evening? Are you most productive really late at night? You know, so in terms of, like, say you're going to be scheduling a meeting. So it may take an hour to get across town that you could have been working, or that you could have been spending, you know, working on the problem. So see if this can be a virtual meeting, see if it can be a Zoom call, see if it can just be a phone call or a few texts. You know, if you don't have to physically get somewhere and do something, taking 3 hours out of your productive time, find unique ways around that. And also, if your productive time is in the middle of the night and your partner's productive time is in the morning, find great ways of communicating. Find great ways of communicating between you, or communicating between you and your team, of what the work expectations are and what somebody got done in the middle of the night. The people in the morning should know, what's been done without somebody having to be there. So moving on to your creative team, your dev team, your business team. And again, in the beginning stages, this may all just be you. This may just be you and all these different parts of your personality. So surround yourself with people that make you better. We all have weaknesses when it comes to business, when it comes to our personalities. Surround yourself with people who make you better and are also as involved in the thing that you're building as you are. Have the confidence to get rid of people who aren't working out. You're a coach. You're the head coach of a team that has to perform together to make something great. Bring in great star players, but also bring in great supporting players. Recognize everybody's contribution in this endeavor, and everybody wins. Also, and this is extremely important, don't justify bad behavior behind brilliance. Okay, don't justify bad behavior behind brilliance. So say somebody's a really great back-end developer, but they're a complete asshole. You can probably find another coder who's a nice person to be around. It's like, just have the confidence to make changes where they're needed. Also, if it's your vision, and this is your big vision, this platform or this game or this experience, but if you don't like sales or marketing, hire for your weaknesses. It'll make the overall everything stronger. So yeah, if you don't like sales or marketing, just hire somebody who does. So let's talk about the money, because most of the tools that are used to develop immersive experiences are, generally relatively cheap, if not free. It's like they're incredible free platforms. I mean, you look at Blender and you look at Unreal Engine and you look at all of this stuff. It's like it is staggering the amount of power that's out there that's completely free. But time is not free. So figure out how much your time is worth, because eventually you will have to indicate to somebody how much you should be paid, how much this thing that you've developed is worth at a certain time. So say you've put in 9,000 hours on this thing. What is 9,000 hours multiplied by how much you're worth? So figure that out. That's something that's very important. Also, when it comes to fundraising, don't stop. Look at this map. This is something that was put out this week about the amount of investment going on the continent right now, and the big four countries in terms of the amount of investment since 2019. So look at this. I mean, this is just 2.5 years. So there are, $3.5 billion US, $3.5 billion US have been put into Nigerian startups. That's pretty amazing. Kenya, you're not far behind at 1.9 billion. Almost. Here in Ethiopia, we're in the the blue zone. We've got some work to do, but we're gaining. It's absolutely staggering the amount of money that's here and coming into the tech space, especially. So I would say his fortune in gold. He convinced friends and family to lend him money to buy drilling equipment and hire people to really. And the geologist took a look at the land and took a look at the space and said, you know what? It looks like there was just a shift in where this vein of gold was. if you dig 3 extra feet, you're going to hit gold. So that guy that the first person sold all of his equipment to dug for 3 feet and struck gold and made millions. And it just comes down to this. What we're doing is not easy. There will be success. There will be failure. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep digging. So 3 feet may be all that separates you from incredible results. So I thank you very much. And yeah, that was the end of the presentation part. I hope I'm still streaming. Oh, I should probably turn up my speakers. Okay.
So, I think everyone can hear me. Can you hear me, Bob?
I can hear you.
So I believe everyone can hear me as well. So thank you very much for the presentation. It was very awesome. We've learned a lot from you. Like I said, it's part of an interesting topic because it says business. We're talking money, how to make money in the production of immersive technology. So I wanted to actually learn more about it, and thank you very much for giving an insights about it. At the meantime, I think it's the time where we get to ask questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to actually comment in the comment section. We're going to go on it together with Bob. So I think it's a Q&A session.
Any questions? Please feel free. And if not, that's okay too. I mean, maybe you can put in the comments, things that, I may not know about your business struggle or your business successes in the AR and VR space. I mean, let's have a chat about what you've had success with. I'd love to hear.
So I think I personally have a question. I was actually trying to give others ahead. So I wanted to know your insights about the business of immersive technology here in Africa specifically. You can start from Ethiopia, then emphasize on the entire continent. So how do you see it going here?
Well, the cool thing is that, I moved here in December of 2020, and here is Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And shortly after I arrived, I was introduced to Daniel Getachew at Guzo, and I was fascinated with the work that they were doing with the Battle of Adwa and the other VR projects that they were doing. And I was like, okay, well, this is obviously an indication that we've got great talent here and a unique voice when it comes to the type of projects. And I'm not coming to this from the perspective of a Westerner or, as said here, a Ferengi. It's like there's great work being done here. And it's not great work for Africa. It's excellent work. And it should be spread wide, and people should really get to know the work that's being done here because it's amazing. I think that one of the challenges in Ethiopia is the overall climate when it comes to business investment. There isn't a whole lot of international investment because of monetary policy here. So it's just a little bit difficult. It doesn't mean that there can't be great domestic projects that are done. But it's an interesting business climate. And I think that it should be explored. And I don't think anybody should be discouraged by what's happening in business currently. I think that, everybody should be able to pursue what they're interested in and the technology. Elsewhere in Africa, it is easier to have access to the tools to develop technology-based businesses. So I think that that's something that, you know, can be learned from, is that, you know, if you are somewhere where it's easy to get computers, where it's easy to get material, where you've got access to high bandwidth internet, you know, use that as your starting point and just, you know, build your success forward from that. Just know that there are some places where even the most basic things are very challenging.
Thank you very much, Bob. So we have a question from Vicent, I guess. So what do you think of the adaptation of African population to these new ways of manufacturing products?
Could you repeat the question?
What do you think of the adaptation of African population to this new way of manufacturing products?
Are we talking about products in terms of physical, technical items, or are we talking about product in terms of building, you know, technology-based experiences, that sort of thing? If it's a matter of physical things like computers, you know, TVs, the tools that are used to make what we make, then, you know, we have to look globally and find the best resources available for us. When it comes to entertainment product, immersive experiences, then everybody has a unique voice. And I think that anyone with the access to the tools to create something unique and to create something that solves a problem, whether it's you know, African or not, it is the unique problem solving that makes the great thing. It isn't the nationality or the cultural background of the person making it. It's whether or not it solves a problem, whether or not it entertains an audience. It needs to have a life, and that's the thing. It's like what AR and VR does is bring voice to the world.
Another question coming up again. So this question is from me. So I wanted to know the contribution of Africa and the metaverse, and what do we need to contribute regarding the business? How do we actually change that into a business? I mean, you know, it is actually struggling to introduce the concept of metaverse here in Africa, and beyond that, like I said yesterday, it's an infant technology that we're trying to introduce to people. So how do you see us growing with the world, and where are we at right now? I feel like the metaverse technology, everyone's actually contributing everything from the entire world, but where do you see Africa? And when coming to the film production, how are we going here? I mean, do we have the right equipment to actually make an awesome movie, or are we actually lagging behind of the world, and where do you see that going? This is a question coming up from me. I hope it's going to answer a lot of questions for everyone.
I will attempt to answer the first part in the most sort of culturally relevant, culturally sensitive way I can, and that is essentially by not answering it. It is not up to me to determine where Africa sits in the metaverse. It is up to each individual who wants to participate in this to create the metaverse that they want to see for themselves. I think there has been a lot of talk about the metaverse in terms of giving marginalized populations a voice and an opportunity to create the world that they wish exists, as opposed to the world which does exist. And I think that that is a very patronizing way of approaching the metaverse. I think if we want to create a universe for ourselves, we need to create something that empowers us, but also gives us the opportunity to do things we want to do. Yeah, I don't think I have any say in the way that that African creators approach the metaverse, because it's yeah, that's not my place to be. But I will answer the second part of the question, which is the tools of creativity. Whether it's a motion picture, whether it's something that is on a grand scale, or whether it's something that is on YouTube, creativity should not be limited by the tools that we have at our disposal. You know, everybody pretty much has one of these. You know, everybody's got a cell phone, and you can make a movie on a cell phone as well as you can make a movie with a crew of 150 people. It's just a different way of telling a story. You know, make it more intimate. Are you going to have giant car chases? Probably not. But will you be able to tell a story that's a little bit more heartfelt or just funny and madcap? Yeah, like make it on your phone. If you've got something to say, just say it. The thing is, it's like the tools for disseminating our voice and the tools for broadcasting our own stories are out there, and they're generally free. So if you have access to bandwidth, if you have access to a little bit of editing software, if you have access to something, just go for it.
Thank you very much, Bob. So I don't think there are questions I've been checking. So thank you very much again. We'd like to thank everyone from Institute of Francis Goma for attending this event. At the meantime, thank you very much, Bob, for your time and for giving us this amazing session. And we're going to have the same session tomorrow morning, and do not miss it. And I think it's the end of the show. See you tomorrow.
Hello everyone, this is the VR month in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unique event of its genre in this country. It is the first that is going to be held in the city of Goma in the eastern part of Congo. Amazing place. There will be different type of event. There will be live events where we will have to gather together to have this immersive experience. There will also be an online event where we are gathering different profile, the top of the notch of Africa. They will come from Egypt to Kenya, from Nigeria. They will be talking to you about a wide range of topics, unique topics, from how to build a studio to how to build content and how to immerse people in this kind of VR, what is happening in the metaverse and how to develop it. I'm inviting all of you to join this event. We will share with you this link where you can go and register so that you can be part of this event. We welcome all of you and we can't wait to see you.